after having diagnosed the condition, the next step is management of choriocarcinoma. So it can be the preventive management or a curative management. Preventive management is usually in the form of prophylactic chemotherapy in at-risk women. That is, those women who are having some risk of development of choriocarcinoma, we give prophylactic chemotherapy. So what are those at-risk factors? One is that age of patient more than 40 years, initial serum HCG levels of more than or equal to 1 lakh milli-international per ml, or if the HCG levels fail to become normal by 7 to 9 weeks time, or there is resurgence in the HCG levels, or if there is histologically diagnosed as infiltrative mole, then it becomes a high risk factor. Or there is evidence of metastasis irrespective of the level of human chorionic gonadotrophin. There is previous history of molar pregnancy, and woman who is unreliable for follow-up. However, there is a disadvantages in giving this prophylactic chemotherapy, because in many of the women we will be unnecessarily giving these toxic drugs which may not be required at all to her. The second preventive step is meticulous follow-up following evacuation of hereditary-form mole for at least 6 months to detect early evidence of reactivation of the condition. Or we can do selective hysterectomy in hereditary-form mole. Those are over 35 years. There is a 4-fold increase in the risk of choriocarcinoma in women over the age of 35 years. The next step in management is curative, which we'll be dealing shortly. So curative management of choriocarcinoma is mainly by chemotherapy. So chemotherapy has revolutionized the treatment of both non-metastatic as well as metastatic lesions of choriocarcinoma. So management here needs thorough assessment of the extent of the disease as decided by WHO prognostic scoring, which we'll be coming to shortly. Surgery includes hysterectomy if the lesion is restricted to uterus. If in cases of pulmonary metastasis, in some cases we may need to do lung resection, and craniotomy in some of the cases of cerebral metastasis. Radiation has got a limited role. It can be used only in acute bleeding from vaginal metastasis and liver or brain metastasis. So chemotherapy is the mainstay of the treatment. Women with low risk GTN by the risk scoring system are treated with single agent chemotherapy, and women with high risk of GTN are treated with multi-agent chemotherapy. And hysterectomy is warranted in some situation. So these are the WHO risk factors scoring for gestational trophoblastic neoplasia, which is modified by FIVO. In this, score is given by 0, 1, 2 and 4. You see there is no 3 in this, and various factors which are taken into consideration is age, cutoff limit is 40, and antecedent pregnancy, if it is a mole, it is low risk. If it is a term pregnancy, then it is a high risk, and score is 2 for that. Interval months from the index pregnancy. The more the interval from the index pregnancy, the poorer is the risk score. The pre-treatment serum beta HCG levels, it is less than 10 raised to the power of 3, then it is 0 score, and if it is more than or equal to 10 raised to the power of 5, then the score is 4. The tumor size, including the uterus, the more the tumor size, the poorer is the risk score. Then it also depends upon the site of metastasis. In the lung metastasis, it's supposed to be a good score of 0, and if it is a liver or brain metastasis, then score is 4. And the more the number of metastasis, the higher the scores. And previous failed chemotherapy, if it was a 1 drug regimen earlier given, then the score is 2. If more than 2 drugs have been used, then the score is 4. So risk score is usually recommended, developed by WHO in 1983 and has been modified by FIGO. The score of 0 to 6 suggests a low risk score. Resistance of then the single agent chemotherapy is used. If it is a score of more than 7 or equal to 7, it predicts high risk of resistance to monotherapy, and that requires a combined chemotherapy. So what agent of drugs to be used and how, if it is a multi-agent or single agent, depends upon the score of the patient. So the most common drug used in the case of chemotherapy is methotrexate, and it is a folic acid antagonist. It inhibits the DNA and RNA synthesis. So as you know, the folic acid requires for the synthesis of thymidine and purine, which are counteracted by methotrexate. That's why folic acid has to be given whenever we give methotrexate. So methotrexate acts by inhibiting the enzyme folic acid reductase, which is required for folic acid metabolism. Folinic acid, which is the same action as folic acid, is not inhibited by methotrexate. It is used to reduce its toxicity. So methotrexate, it inhibits rapidly dividing cells. The adverse effect of methotrexate include gastrointestinal mucositis like diarrhea, stomatitis, nausea. Other side effects include alopecia, bone marrow suppression, and hepatotoxicity. So how do we manage the low risk GTN? So if the fertility is not desired, then one should consider hysterectomy. And management of GTN requires assessment of the extent of the disease. What is the extent of the disease? Chemotherapy with single agent usually used is methotrexate, and sometimes actinomycin D is used. The follow-up is done by weekly serum beta HCG. One has to monitor the liver function test and the complete blood count. If HCG levels plateau or rise, switch to alternate drug. And if methotrexate is resistant, then switch over to actinomycin D. If you use this as a actinomycin is used as first line therapy, then switch to methotrexate. Continue till 3 consecutive HCG values are normal, and continue monitoring, and contraception for 12 months is to be used. So in the case of low risk gestational trophoblastic neoplasia, the cure rate is 100%. So chemotherapy regimen for low risk gestational trophoblastic disease: methotrexate usually used as 1 mg per kg up to 70 mg intramuscularly or intravenously on days 1, 3, 5, 7, and folinic acid is on the other days, that is day 2, 4, 6 and 8 as 0.1 mg per kg intramuscularly or intravenously for 14 days. Cycle is 14-day cycle. So methotrexate also can be used as dose of 0.4 mg per kilogram IM or IV daily for 5 days, or it can be used at 30 to 50 mg per square meter intramuscularly 7-day cycle. Other drug is used is dactinomycin D, which also has got a 14-day cycle. Actinomycin D is the second line drug for low risk gestational trophoblastic neoplasia. It is as effective as methotrexate, usually used when there is no response to methotrexate. The dosage is 9 to 13 microgram per kilogram per day intravenously for 5 days every 2 weeks. Or the other dosage is 1.25 milligram per square meter body surface area intravenously bolus every 2 weeks. Toxicity is higher with actinomycin D as compared to the methotrexate, and they include alopecia, nausea, and nephrotoxicity. So now coming to the management of high-risk gestational trophoblastic neoplasia. It includes patients with risk score of 7 or more as per the WHO prognostic scoring system. That is women with stage 4 disease, or women with stage 2 or 3 disease with WHO score of more than or equal to 7. Here we'll have to do aggressive therapy with multi-agent chemotherapy, and the multi-agent chemotherapy mostly consists of etoposide, methotrexate, actinomycin D, cyclophosphamide and vincristine with folinic acid rescue, also called as IMACO regimen. There are various other regimens in treatment of high-risk GTN, but usually this is IMACO regimen is being used. This multi-agent chemotherapy is quite toxic, and toxicity include alopecia, stomatitis, gastrointestinal mucositis, and myelosuppression. So on day 1, etoposide is used as 100 mg per square meter body surface area by IV infusion over 30 minutes. Actinomycin D 0.5 mg IV bolus. Methotrexate 300 mg per square meter by IV infusion over 12 hours. On day 2, it is etoposide 100 mg per square meter by IV infusion over 30 minutes. Actinomycin D 0.5 mg IV bolus and folinic acid rescue starting 24 hours after commencing the methotrexate infusion at 15 mg IV or orally every 12 hours for 4 doses. And CO or CO of the IMACO is given on day 8. The drugs included are vincristine 1 mg per square meter IV bolus, maximum is 2 mg, and cyclophosphamide 600 mg per square meter IV infusion over 30 minutes. The EMA alternates with CO every week to avoid extended intervals between courses caused by myelosuppression. It may occasionally be necessary to reduce the EMA part of it by omitting the day 2 doses of etoposide and actinomycin D. So other management includes hysterectomy, followed by adjuvant single agent chemotherapy may be considered as first choice in low risk women who do not desire fertility. Other indications of hysterectomy include perforating mole of with intraperitoneal hemorrhage, accidental uterine perforation during uterine curettage, uncontrolled vaginal bleeding when it becomes an emergency, chemo-resistant disease, placental site trophoblastic tumor, and epithelioid trophoblastic tumor. So these are the indications of hysterectomy. They also include women with low risk gestational trophoblastic neoplasia who do not desire fertility, perforating mole with intracranial hemorrhage, so uncontrolled vaginal bleeding, again PSTT and ETT. So these are the important indications, that's why the repetition. The management of metastasis, it's again a recapitulation of what we have dealt with till now. In cases of vaginal metastasis, it is vaginal pack for bleeding, and as far as possible one should avoid excision because otherwise there is a lot of hemorrhage, and chemotherapy. Lungs, the treatment is chemotherapy, lobectomy if the growth is localized and resistant to chemotherapy. In cases of liver metastasis, it is chemotherapy, or in some cases it is radiation. And cerebral metastasis, it is chemotherapy, intrathecal chemotherapy, surgery, and radiotherapy.